the day before we shot this, I wish you had been on the boat with them, not me. This was the second day of shooting. We got nothing the first day. Robert, who is an extraordinary actor, I mean, just extraordinary. But, you know, we all knew he had a little bit of a drinking issue. And he did come to me and ask for my permission to have a few drinks before he shot the scene, because it was described that the boys were imbibing quite liberally, and they were, you know, got to the point where they could giddily compare their battle scars. And I foolishly said, yeah, go ahead and have a couple of drinks. And, you know, as we all know, we're not supposed to do that anywhere. And Robert went off and had some drinks. And then an hour went by, and we had the camera set up, and all of a sudden I saw Robert coming back on the ship, the Orca, from a support boat, and there were two crew members. One had him under one arm, the other had him on the other arm. And he was kind of walking, but he wasn't, his feet really weren't touching the ground. And they brought him into the set, and they plopped him down, you know, at that table on the little red leatherette couch, and he sat there, and we tried the first take. We actually rolled on it. We had two cameras on Robert. And I've always felt that there's certain details and war stories that we all have about our movies that I shouldn't really deeply go into, but suffice to say that at about half an hour into that, I sent him back home, and where he slept it off and called me the next morning. My phone rang right in the middle of the night, and the hour of the wolf, and I answered the phone. It was Robert. He was absolutely sober, and he was terrified that something terrible had happened that day, and that he kept saying, "Did I embarrass you? Please, I hope I didn't embarrass you." He was more concerned about embarrassing me, which I love him for. Wow. I love that that was his reaction, that he was more concerned about me than he was for whatever he perceived himself doing. And I told him, no, I said, whenever you're ready, we'll do it again. And so the next day he came prepared, completely sober, having edited, by the way, the scene that John Milius had written 10 pages of a monologue about the Indianapolis that Howard Sackler had conceived, as the uncredited writer on Judge. He wrote The Great White Hope, which is ironic that he did a picture about the Great White Shark after that. And Howard came up with the idea, wrote a page, Milius wrote 10, Shaw brought it down to 5 pages. And in very few takes, we nailed it, just nailed it. 2 cameras on every shot, medium close, sort of a medium to, a little closer to, a little more profile to Robert, onto Richard, the isolated single of Roy, and we finished that whole scene in a day. We were done by the end of the day. And it was just an amazing experience for me, because once again, for all of you who have done theater, I haven't, but I'm sure some of you have, it was like that. It was like theater. It was like watching 3 great performers completely outranking, because all actors outrank directors once they start to speak. Once they start to speak, we are minimalists, and we should remain that way if the speaking is good. We should get out of the way. The worst thing directors do sometimes is to try to get in the way of something that is only going to happen once. And if you stop it, you may never get it back again. And when I saw those guys in that first take start to perform, my job was just to keep quiet and just wait until they finished, and that's what happened.